Okay, so in this class, we'll be looking into AWS RDS. You might get confused why this Docker page is open because Docker is somewhat involved in AWS RDS. So we will just look a small introduction of Docker. So as a definition, any idea, Garishma, what is the basic building of Docker? Why it was come into the picture? What was the reason?
Uh, like
Or Sumer or Roshan, anyone open to answer this one?
Docker containers.
Yeah, Docker container is there, but what was the requirement that it comes into the picture?
like what do you say? Uh,
Okay, I'll explain. Okay, you might
to
not be
divide
getting
into small containers, Docker is used.
pretty close. Okay, but the main purpose was you are close. Okay, but the main purpose was that initially when you build any application, you require multiple other services as well. Okay, which are connected to that application, and you are building that one on a certain operating system. So what happens when
Right.
you change your application to other operating system and try to run over it? Multiple
Yeah.
configuration get changes. Okay, the moment you change your OS.
Mm,
So in this way, multiple teams like QA, developer, or DevOps, every team faces such problems. So for resolving such issues, Docker come into the picture in which you will bind your application in a container and as the image you provide to everyone. Okay, so that
So basically
everything.
to work on every machine, right? Like,
Yep. So
yeah.
you are not running on your kernel. Kernel is basically the one that talks to your hardware. You are working on another above layer of that kernel, which lets that OS to connect and that OS connect with the kernel. So you don't have to create another virtual machine or you don't have to install the dependencies. Everything will be bind in that image. Okay. You take that image, make a container out of it and run your application. Okay. That's as simple. So we discuss how the software development was before and how it come into the picture after. So works on somebody says it's work on my machine, okay, and then you come to know that it doesn't work on the user's machine. Okay, so it's basically a virtual software, okay, help you to deploy your application much more easier. But the main task is packaging that application into a single format, which is known as container. Okay, a standardized unit that has everything to run that application that is needed on your operating system. Okay, clear with this definition why it come into the picture. Okay, and with this you know the importance of Docker as well. So it is very much essential for almost every company who is developing their own softwares. Okay, some of the old companies which are fully independent and which do not want to migrate to the new technology, they have little bit difficulties like my company. But otherwise,
Uh-huh.
most of the modern companies are actually having Docker in their system so that it get easier. Even though in my company developers do complain it, but what to do unless you get the command from the upper people, you won't make or you won't implement Docker into your machines or application. Okay, that's some other discussion. Let's
So may
continue.
know what you will be using, like the developers and all.
So
What they.
developers directly take the source code, okay, because we all are working on Windows machine. So our
Uh-huh.
software is not for Linux and barely for iOS operating system. So since everyone is dependent on Windows, even the users also, so in such case, we do not have to change the operating system. That's why Docker requirement doesn't come into that heavy magnitude. So people were not feeling that it is really very important as we do not have cross-platform application. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that's the reason. So if a company is fully developing anything, any software for single application, for single operating system, then they might not require. But I have to stop here. It is more than that. Okay. Why? Because what happens sometime when you run your application, suppose containing a MongoDB of version 8.5, and now you switch, now you told other developer to again mimic this one. So he might download 8.9 or the latest one, which maybe some of the older code get obsolete from the database, or the new code come into the picture which do not align with your previous version. So again, that's the issues come. So for that also Docker is very much needed. Okay. How did it work? We discussed what is the big deal. So everything, database, cache, messaging system, these and these versions they used to use. Developer is using different version, intern is using different version. Okay, and what do you face? Installation problem on your OS, and many steps could go wrong. That is the issues we could face while doing this one. So all these services, A, B, C, D, all these services that your app is using. So suppose if your app is using 10 services, each developer need to install these 10 services, right? Like PostgreSQL, Redis, or some other services. So that's very much hectic if you have to implement the same thing on 5 machines. So there comes into the picture file, image, and container. So very basic. You have a lot of files, okay, file in the form of exes, which are your versions or your, so all your application services. You bind everything into a single image, okay, and you transport everyone this image. What they do, they unwrap this image in the form of container, and then they extract your application from this container by running this container. Okay. So remember, image is only for transporting your application, but to run your application, you need to convert your image into container. How to do it? I will show you. Okay. So file is the starting point. So you need one file that binds your application into a single image, that is known as Docker file, which look like this, which is pretty much simple. If you write 5-6 Docker file, you will understand how to write Docker file, which is basically starts from your operating system on which your application will run, which is a from working directory on which part your application will be deployed. Copy dot dot means copy everything to everyone, everything present. So from your local, it will copy all the objects to this working directory. Okay. Then run this command basically to install pip or whatever the libraries you have mentioned in this requirement.txt file. It will install all those things and expose your application in 8080. That is the port number. And after exposing it, you command it to run python app.py. So whenever if you have to run, if you ever run Python application, you have to write Python and then file name. So that command we are passing over here. So even if you remember this one now, you can easily build Docker file of almost everything. Almost all Python application you can build Docker file easily. Because this is common, working directory is common, copy is common, run command is common, expose for local, okay. Port number to check your application, we use expose locally. And this command is common. So no matter what's your Python application is, these few things are almost have to be there. Okay. Any confusion so far?
No, actually.
Okay, it's pretty simple.
Like
Just take it in a flow.
this one is like a Python file. So
Yeah.
so
No, no, no,
like
no. This one is not Python file. This is Docker file for Python
okay,
application. Okay, I'll show you a
okay,
bit.
okay.
If I go here, I'll go back. DevOps, Docker. Suppose this is application 1, storytelling. Okay. So this application is made up of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So to bind this application into image or Docker image, I need to write a Docker file. This Docker, but now this Docker file is a different because this is HTML, CSS file, HTML, CSS application. So I did not need required from for Apache server. I need to run this my HTML, CSS one. Copy where I'm copying from this to htdocs. Apache contain htdocs, so I'm copying everything to htdocs and exposing to port 80, which is my run my application on port 80. That's it. You created this Docker file, and now there is a one command that you run it to convert all your application into a single image. Okay. So in the same way, you have a Python file. Okay. Do I have this one is Python py? Yeah. So I haven't created this. It's Docker file. So this is my Python application. If I have to convert this py into a Docker file, then I'll right click. I'll create a file, Docker file with the name of Docker file, and I'll write all these things into that one. So two things you required: requirement.txt. So what is this requirement.txt file? Basically, whenever you run Python application, you have certain libraries, okay, to install. For example, this Flask. So generally, if I'm running locally, I need to go here, pip install Flask. Then only it will run my application. But if you are running on Docker image and container, you cannot do like that. So I'll create a separate requirement.txt file which contain all those libraries that required to run my application. So Flask is required. Okay. So what this will do, this line Python pip install. So whatever library is mentioned in your requirement.txt, it will install everything for your application. Clear? Any confusion? So far, just understand Docker file is
No.
a file that requires to bind your application into an image. That's it. How to do it, what are the commands, rest of the things I'll discuss later on while making our RDS. So this is your Docker file. You build this application into a image. Okay. Now, where do you put this image? So this image basically contain all your libraries, configuration, and everything. Okay. Now, when you run it locally, then based on I discuss about if it is a Ubuntu requirement, if it is a application that run on Linux, then you can give a base from Ubuntu. Like here I written from Python, you have to write from
Yeah.
Ubuntu. Okay, if it is that type of application. And then once you've done this image form, then you have to put it in the container, run it like a container. Okay, so basically that you transport is the image, but the one that you run is the container. Okay, so once you unwrap this one, all the containers get open and you can run it. So you have separate container for SQL, you have separate container for Node.js. Okay, this is for MongoDB. Okay, in this way it happens. Understood what is container?
Like, uh,
Mhm.
can you explain again, like, what is, you said, right, separate containers for this both?
Mm.
Like, can you,
It's
like,
on you. Yeah, I'll explain you. Okay. This is just an example for different types of container. This is SQL container. Okay. Means you
okay,
must be having an SQL image. Let me show you. Where
yeah,
do you find all these images or store it? There is a place. If you want to store your source code, where do we store our source code?
GitHub,
GitHub.
GitHub.
If you want to store your all Docker images, where do you store? Docker Hub.
Uh, yeah,
Okay. So I go here. You can find all the type of Docker images. For example, MongoDB. I'll write Mongo. Okay. Click here. See, I got the Mongo image. So if I want to get this image locally, I just have to run. This one. Docker run -name Mongo -d. This one. Okay. What is this -name? Don't bother about that one. Okay. Just see,
name
Docker
of,
run
yeah,
means you are running the command running. I'll take you through this one. When we will build AWS RDS one, I will convert our application into a single one. So no need to worry about it. Yeah, I can even show you my own account where I have implemented. I packed my own application, okay, and convert into images and push into this Docker app. So you guys can also, here it is. You guys can also take these images into your local and just make it a container out of it and run this application. That's it. You don't have to require anything. How it
Okay.
happens, I'll show you. Okay, no need to worry anything. So we have seen what is images. Basically a Docker file, okay, which get converted into images. So in general, image are the layers in which the base layer is where your operating system resides. Okay, top layer is your application part. Okay, I wish I should have taken a separate class for Docker. Okay, if you guys demand, definitely I'll take a in-depth class of Docker. But for now, let's just go through it. Okay, so suppose this is a development process with a container. These are the commands that we run. Docker run Postgres. It means we are running the container. Okay, Docker run
Okay.
Redis. Redis is again a image. The moment you write run now,
Yeah.
this image get converted into a container.
Container. Yes.
Okay, and that container you run on your local. So easy to
Wh-
run. Yeah,
What is
please.
that one on local means what is the meaning of that?
Local where? This one, local dev
Like
environment.
you said, right? Like
Mhm.
once it gets converted into container, then we'll run in local. What does that
Yes.
mean?
It means that when you take my application, I'll give you example as a source code. When you take my source code, you take locally,
Okay.
right? And then you run that source code
Yeah.
locally, right? So in the same
Yeah.
way, I take the Docker image from the Docker hub, okay?
Okay.
And then after what I did, I made container out of it locally,
Yeah.
right?
Uh,
Where it
Locally
is?
in the sense my system, right?
Locally in the only in my system. Yeah, that is the
Yeah.
main purpose of
Okay.
Docker, so that every
Uh-huh.
local system can run that application. Locally, suppose
Okay.
this is the image. I can take this
Oh,
image locally. I can show you as well. Okay, PowerShell. I will just say Docker, enter. So, Docker I have already installed in it. If I do Docker, pull image name. Okay. Suppose example hello world. There is another image name as hello world. So I take this hello world. Okay. If the command is here, no need to worry. You the only Docker pull and the image name. And the image name we know, this is the image name. Control C, V, and press enter. So what it will do, it will pull this image from your Docker hub. See, now
okay.
it pull the image. Okay. So if I do Docker images, I can see the hello world images here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Tag means the latest tag. If you do not provide any tag, it will take the latest one. But if you see my screen, you can get any version easily. Just put it as a tag. So if you want the previous version, suppose version 4.1 I want. So how would I do? I'll simply pull the image like colon and give 4.1. 4.1. It will pull the image of 4.1. But how do you know that this 4.1 version is available or not? So this you can get in here. Okay. Click on the tag. So they will
Okay.
tell you what are the versions available. For example, this is nano server. If I colon do nano server, here it is. Docker pull hello world. This much we did, right? Now you
Yeah.
can colon and do nano version, nano server ITSC 2025. So this version specifically will be downloaded on your system. Okay.
Okay.
It happens with every image. Suppose this is MongoDB. If I go
So, like after downloading, what is the purpose like
like what is the
for?
purpose? I downloaded. Okay. Right now,
Yeah.
I want to see what is inside this image. Okay.
Okay.
Imagine it's an application. So what is inside this application? So I'll do Docker run and the image name and press enter. Okay. So there it is. You can see hello from Docker world from Docker. This is inside this hello world.
Okay.
Okay. In the same way, you will be having multiple images. This is just a simple basic image. I'll show you other images, okay, which are linked with our course. Understood?
Yeah.
Let's go to, and this is the architecture of Docker. So we do Docker build to create image, Docker pull you have seen to pull the image from the Docker hub, okay, and
Yeah.
Docker
To
run to
run
make container out of it.
container.
Yeah, you got it. So who decide all these things? The brain of Docker, that is Docker daemon.
Brain.
So when you run Docker build, Docker daemon decide that the application has to be converted into images. So it convert into images. But
So
to
like
work,
image means like not only or just like the environment, but it's also the application's code also, right?
correct, everything.
Okay.
Yeah, even the
Okay.
application code as well.
And the
But the
environment
thing is,
also.
you won't see the code.
Okay.
Okay. It actually binds everything. Okay. And it execute the command that you put on your Docker file. You have your code. Okay. So what it will do, it will apply this operation on your code. And the
Okay.
result you will see in your Docker container. That is the thing. Okay.
Okay.
It is not because suppose you are a user, QA. Imagine you are a QA. You only have to see as a quality engineer, you will see the product, whether the changes are applied or not correctly. You
Uh-huh.
don't have to do anything with the code. So what you will do,
Okay.
you will pull this image on your system, make container out of it and run it on your system and see
Uh-huh.
application is running perfectly or not.
Okay.
Okay. You will not be able to see the source code behind
The
it.
code.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if you see, there are thousands of images in Docker Hub. Even Ubuntu image is there. I can install Ubuntu
Yeah.
as well on my system. Okay, and run Ubuntu as a Windows OS. Okay, our Windows OS, I can run Ubuntu as well. So
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Okay.
Okay. So what we did, we convert our Docker build, decide that it has to get converted into images. If I do Docker pull, means Docker daemon will decide Docker container is being pulled. Sorry, Docker images is been asked. So it will check first locally images available or not. If it is not available local, it will contact to registry. By registry, you give me all this container, all these images, which is being asked by the user because locally it is not available. Now, what do I mean by
Here, why
locally?
the Nginx is involved?
Mm, Nginx is also involved in the case. Suppose if I'm having this one, this web-based application. So I required a web server to run it, right? For
Yeah.
example, for that HTML, CSS, JavaScript file, I used htdocs, which is Apache server, right?
Uh-huh.
In place of that
Yeah.
Apache server, I could use Nginx as well. So either
Yeah.
use Nginx or Apache server, it's totally on you. So that's why you required that image. So here when I write Python, it first pull this image from the Docker Hub, Python. So when I write Ubuntu here, it will pull that Ubuntu image, or if I write Nginx, it will pull that image from Docker Hub.
Docker Hub.
Okay, where it is. So if you see, let me close that one. In case of here, hold on. So here, when I did HTTP docs, it means this image will be pulled from Docker Hub. And what is the meaning of this one, Alpine? Can you tell me? Just now I told you, when I write colon, and after that, whatever you write became a
The
version.
version, yeah.
Yeah, in general, you say tag, but in actuality, it is the version of that, this image, version of this image. Okay. So even if you write, suppose Ubuntu, okay, I'll go to this Ubuntu. So you can see I have tags. Now I can see there is a, some people are sending their own tags, okay, by doing little bit modification. So if you want specifically this version, there are a lot of versions. Noble version, latest version, okay, Jamie version 24.04 if I want this one. So how would I do? Docker pull Ubuntu and then the colon and version name 24.04. Understood? Any confusion?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No confusion.
Great. So understood this architecture, very simple architecture. First, it will check in the local whether this image is available or not. If not, it will get from the registry and put it in your local. Okay,
Yeah.
great. That partial. So did I delete it? There is another term is this one, Docker desktop, where you visually see everything. Suppose images. So which image we took? This image, right? Hello world.
Yeah.
So when you make container out of it, if I click on this one, you will see it is running over here. Okay. So for example, there's one image which is continuously running, Minikube, which is a Kubernetes container. So this is running. So that's why I can see here. Clear?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Let's go back to our RDS.
How is this related to RDS?
I'll just give you how is this related to. So what we are going to do, we are going to need one application. Okay. And that application where some database is behind it. Okay, we need some application where there is some database inside it. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to create that application. I will pull that application from Docker Hub. Someone created such application. So I'm going to pull that application from their hub. Okay, and run on my local. Just to oops. So I'm going to check that one on my local. So let's do it over here. Already. Okay. So you can go here and just write RDS. So there is Aurora and RDS. Aurora is Amazon specific one and RDS in general. Okay. So you will be having a lot of queries. You just go here, click on create database. Okay. So see, you can create database of this all type of servers, SQL server, Oracle server, MariaDB, PostgreSQL. Okay. These are specific to Amazon. Okay. But we are in general, we are going to use SQL, MySQL. Okay. Great. Then community version we are going to take. You can choose your version, whatever the version you want, you can choose it from here. I'm going with the default one. Okay. if you want extended support on this one, it's a paid offer, so they will charge you amount for this one. I'm not going to click on this one. Okay. Then template, you can use production, dev test, or free tier. What does it mean? Let's go. When you use production now, it means it will give you a whole region in which your application will be duplicated in multiple availability zones, so that your all your data of your RDS will remain safe in this other availability zone. Okay, so and nothing would be, if anything happened to one availability zone, you can switch back to the other one and you can perform your all critical datas operation on your critical datas. But in case of if you go for dev test, okay, so for dev test also they are giving all the three, for production and for dev test. For both, you will be getting all three, whatever you want to choose. In the first case, you will be having three instances, means three different AZ, AZ1, AZ2, AZ3, which means availability zone. You can choose one or two availability zone or single availability zone. So when you go for free tier, you will be having only one availability zone where you have to implement or put all your data into it. Okay. No data redundancy. You won't find any lacking in the data, and 95.5% uptime. Whereas in these two cases, you will get 99.95. Okay. 0.40 greater than this one. Understood? Templates.
Yeah.
Great. This is going to be the name of your database. Okay, you can change it as well, whatever you want. For now, I'm just
So
leaving it
this
as
is
this.
to store the back end of an application.
Correct. So if some people come, there is a form. Suppose imagine you have a form in your application and some people come and fill that form. So where you will get that data? You need to have SQL behind it, right? Where you can perform
Yeah.
operations on those data, right? So this is for
Yeah.
that one. So we are going to fetch one such application from Docker Hub in which we will be applying this operations. So DB name, database name we have given, master username, admin, let it be. You can use managed by AWS secrets. Okay, either use or self-manage. In self-manage, you have to give password to you by yourself. So let me give a password. Suppose I give Akash 1999. Okay, and here also Akash 1999. Great. Instant configuration. This is going to be the configuration of your instance. Okay, an instance will be created. You have to create an instance on which your application will be there. Okay, and then storage. By default, it will give you 20 GB. Okay, it means 20 GB of data you can get from the user and store it and perform your action over it. But you can increase it to 1 TB. Here it is mentioned. You can increase it to 6,144 GB, which is approximately equal to 6 TB. Okay, so up to 6 TB, you can get the data from the user. Then further, don't connect to EC2 instance. For now, we are not going to connect. Okay, you can choose either of this, but we have not created EC2 machine. So we are just choosing this one. We are going for IPv4. Okay. For dual stack mode means you can connect with IPv4 and IPv6 both, but we'll be
What
choosing
happens if we
IPv4.
connect to EC2?
It will by default, if you have your EC2 instance available, you can directly connect because your application will run on EC2 machine, right?
Yeah.
So for now, we don't have any any EC2 instance created. So I'm going with don't connect. We will
So
connect
if we
manually.
don't connect, like where this will
We will
run then?
connect it. We will connect it
We,
manually. Okay.
okay.
Through commands, we will connect it because this one is
Okay.
pretty much easy, but you need to know how to connect with the commands. Okay.
Okay. I have one more doubt. Like
Mm-hmm.
now this RDS also, this service provided by Amazon also, this
Mm-hmm.
also again uses EC2, right? Like or
It
this only
uses
have some storage.
correct. It is having storage and it is using EC2 machine application. Now you might be thinking, what is the difference between then S3 and RDS?
Yeah.
So the thing is,
Mm.
S3 is for storage purpose. You cannot perform action on it. Okay, suppose
Uh-huh.
you put a table, SQL table inside that S3, and you want only the first column to check. Will it be possible? No, because it's
No.
just a bucket. You put all the instrument into it. You cannot do operation on that one. Plus, if user put some data on
Okay.
your application, you cannot put on your S3 bucket, right? Because you have to physically
Correct.
take that data and put it in the S3. Whereas in RDS, it manages your database. So whatever the data is coming from the user side, you will manage it here.
Uh-huh.
So these are
Uh-huh.
basically text-based data. Whereas S3 will contain images, videos,
Like
wedding
it's like
videos,
object
whatever you want.
based.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
anything, whatever you
So the
want.
my doubt is like
Mhm.
everything we have to run on EC2 only. Like again, we have to spin a EC2 and run, or this one we don't need like RDS for RDS. If EC2 we don't spin also, it's fine.
No. The very first question is, where will you run your application? You require server
Uh-huh.
for that one, right? Server is
Yeah.
basically the operating system. So EC2
Yeah.
machine provide you that operating system. So when
Correct.
you run your application, whether it is locally or anyone is running that application, those people run on a certain software. For example, if I want to run any application, my own company software, okay, SolidWorks. So this is my company's product. So if I want to run this
Okay.
one, I need Windows operating system on my local, right, to run this one.
Okay.
Uh, I need to have this. Otherwise, where will I run? Where will I give if I choose contact us? So these form filling everything, suppose this one, where this data will go? If I fill this one,
Yeah.
where it will go?
Correct.
So your
It
RDS
should
will
go to
catch all
backend.
these things.
Yeah.
Yes. So RDS will catch it, but you need to have your application running on a server where user will connect. So EC2 machine is for that one. Okay. So
Okay.
you need EC2 machine for connecting with the backend, where the front end will be seen to the user and user will be performing all their operations. Okay. Then for now, we are going with the default VPC. In our further projects, we will create our own VPC and we will deploy this on that one. Okay. Public access. Yes, I want to give public access for now. Okay. If you are going for an existing one, we'll choose this one. If you want to create new VPCs, new security group, choose this one. For now, we are going with the default. Existing is default. Availability zone is default. Okay. You can choose your preference. I want 1B, 1C, 1A. Okay. And that's all. Okay. Password authentication. When you want to connect with the database, you require password. Okay. Standard database. Just all are some more functionality. If you want to add on, you can. For now, I'm just going in create this database. Okay. So you will get this box. So it is saying create elastic cache cluster, which is 55% in cost and gain up to 80x faster read performance. Suppose you have terabyte of data in your backend and if you want to read it, it will become very slow. So they are providing this one too. So if you want, you can go for this one. You can use RDS proxy as well. So they are doing their own marketing. Okay. If you want it, then go for it. I'll close it. Till it is getting created, let's create our EC2 machine. So far, any confusion?
No, no, actually.
Great. Creating database is pretty much easy. Instance we already know. So we'll quickly create RDS underscore instance. Let's go for Ubuntu T3 micro. Okay. If you want to connect with the local, go with the create a key pair and connect it. I'm not going to connect, so I'll just choose this one. Our application is going to run on HTTP traffic, so I need to allow this one. Okay, rest everything will remain same and launch it. Okay, let's connect with the instance. Refresh it, it takes a little bit time. Okay, it got connected. Now, we want one image from the server, from the Docker Hub into our local. So we need to have Docker in our system. Okay, so let's quickly download sudo apt update, first updated software. Let's check a look. It's still creating. Let it get created. You can go ahead, install Docker or Ubuntu. You can come here, you can see the prerequisite. Set up the Docker repository. Run this command. Okay, it's done. Then let's see, is it working? Sudo pt install docker.io. Let's check our this one. Finish time. So it basically connect with all your default VPCs and your subnets. Okay, let's check Docker hyphen version. So we got Docker in our system. Great. So I have one image. Mhm. Okay, so we install, okay, we need to start the Docker service. So we can do systemctl start Docker and then the sudo systemctl. We discussed about this one in our previous class, right? Status. So basically, we start our Docker, even though Docker installed, but sometime it may not get started. So just for the confirmation, we start the Docker server.
Okay.
Okay, so we installed. Now let's pull one image. The image name is fall node MySQL app. This one. I'll just copy this one. This whole command you understood? Docker
Docker
is
pulling the Docker
pull.
image.
Yeah, means we are pulling directly from the Docker hub. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pulling all this. Our database is also available now. That's good. If I do, let's see, Docker commands are working. Sudo Docker images. We can see the images installed, right? But if I want to run it right now, Docker run, okay. So you want to check it whether it is working on a port, some port number you need to provide. Okay. This is known as port mapping. So what you have to do
Yeah.
for port mapping, basically all the Docker file are exposed on some port. Okay. We can see
Yeah.
some Docker files are exposed on port 80. It is exposed on
80.
port 80. Okay. So in the same way, this Docker file is exposed on port 3000. Okay. You can get it from the Docker Hub, get the idea on which port it is exposed. So if it is exposed on port 3000 and you want to run it at port 80 or port 90 of your choice, because sometimes it happens you already have an application which run on port 80. So you want to run it on other port number. So what do you have to
Okay.
do? Simple, Docker run -p. -p means for port. Okay. And then what port I want to run? Suppose I want to run on port 80 colon. On which port container is already available? It is available on port 3000. Okay.
3000. Okay.
This is the container port. Port 80 is the host port.
Host
Host
port.
port. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have to provide the image name. Copy, paste. We miss one P. What will happen if you do the name error now? It will Docker run actually includes Docker pull and Docker run together. So it will try to look
Yeah.
some other image available on Docker Hub for this new name. Basically, there is no such. If there is available, it will extract that image. So you might be thinking I was doing this one, but it is running something else. So you might get confused. Okay. So we did Docker run -p for the port mapping. We are running on port 80 of this image. Let's just confirm it once. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so we are going to run on this port number 83,000. Okay. There are multiple couple of things more we can do on a single go, or we can do or check it as well. So let's understand this one. Okay. The very first one is RM means remove. Okay. Once the work is done, it will remove it automatically if it is not being used for longer time. Okay. RM command. -p understood for port mapping. Understood? The next
Yeah.
line says DB host, the host on which you want this to be run. If you are running some SQL1, it require a database. So this you need to give. From where you will get this host? So you go to your database, this endpoint, okay, copy this endpoint and paste it over here. Control V. Okay. What this endpoint contain? Your database name, some is encryption data, your region, okay, and then RDS AWS Amazonian.com. Then you remember our DB username was admin, and the password I given while creating this database was Akash1999. Okay, and my database name is this one. Along with that, my image name is this. Correct? -D is the detach mode. What is the meaning of detach mode? It means you will be able to access your terminal even when you run this application. So there is a attach. If I remove this one, then I won't be able to access my terminal. So I don't want that. I want to access my terminal. I will just copy this. paste it over here. Slash means for the next line. Okay, you can even put everything on a single line, but for understanding, let's do like this. And it given some data. It means if I do docker ps, so it will show you all the current running container. It didn't work because we did not include sudo docker ps. So we can see we got a container ID, image name, okay, the command docker entry point kind of, okay, created 16 seconds ago, okay. Port number is 80 over 3000, okay. The docker name is magical Jackson. This is a random name given by Docker. If you do not provide any container name, it will create automatically a new container name. Now let's see whether it is working on this port 80 or not. So for that, you need this public IP address. I'll copy this one. Okay. I'll go to my terminal, paste it over here, hold on, and then do port 80. Press enter. Let's see whether, so see the application is running, okay, on port 80, which we have given. So how is this application? It's a contact app. If I give username, suppose AVA29, add username, and if I see, just a second.
Where is this application pulled from?
This is pulled from Docker Hub. Okay.
Okay, like okay.
Hmm.
But
So this app.
in the Docker Hub, this now the interface we got, right? Like they already have that
They already
already
bind
like
their application. That is I
okay.
wanted to say. They binded
Yeah, yeah.
this application. There's a database error. So we have some couple of things more to connect with our database. Okay. Then only we'll be able to access the functionality. So far
Okay.
you are able to access the application, but to add username and all this, we need pretty more things. Let's go to our database. Okay. Then if you click on this VPC security group. So right now, if I go here, I go to inbound rule. You see, right now it is allowing a particular, this is the inbound, no? Allowing all the traffic. Wait a minute. We need to change that security group actually. So basically it is allowing a particular group, okay. So which does not contain, let's go inside this one, inbound rule. I'll add another rule, okay, for all traffic anywhere, okay, for this IP address, and save this rule. So right now, from anywhere outside the world, if any incoming traffic is coming, it will allow it to put it on this database. Okay, let's just check here. So to check whether it is connected with our container, I mean our database perfectly or not, we will just do Docker. Let's do Docker ps first. Sudo Docker ps, and then we'll do Docker sudo Docker logs and the container name.
ID.
Container ID. You can choose container name or ID both, but
Okay.
most good is the container ID because it's a number, so you will never miss
Yeah.
anything. So some error is there. Okay. Server is running on this localhost 3000, but there's some error in this connection. We did everything correctly. Let's see. Docker port. The Docker port and the container name. So it is running on port 80. Okay. Here it is showing localhost 3000. That's strange.
3000 is the container port, right?
Yes, it's a container port. It should not show the container port, rather it should show the local port, which
Okay,
is
okay.
this one,
80.
480. Yeah, because
Uh-huh.
for checking here, we can see that all the traffic which is coming on this port is being transferred to this port 80. Okay,
Yeah.
so everything you write over here would be
So
shown
now,
since it
now whatever like the information you put here, it will be going to the database, right?
correct. It should go to the database until unless database is connected correctly or not.
So like
So
now we got error, but like if it's working fine, then like what will be the result?
it will be shown connected. Okay. So here you would get the error database inserting fetching. Everything will be connected. You will be getting like that. Okay.
And the information now you are putting here, like in the interface,
So
that
this information you will get RDS on your RDS server.
okay, we'll get here.
So all the logs, everything, you will come here. I'll click here. You will click on monitor all the CPU utilization, and in the logs you will see all the database instance restarted, connected. Okay. So it is showing over here. Today is what, 16 September, na? I mean, it got 16 just
Yeah.
now. So somewhat error occur. So you can see the error is here, right?
Okay.
So it is
No,
get
no, the
connected.
user
That's
information, where will that show?
you can directly user information, basically whatever the user put over here, right?
Yeah.
On the application, if the user put their name and everything, form वगैरह, okay, so that for that you need to have SQL in your system, and you can do the query and you can get it. If it get connected, I would have showed you, but
Okay.
that's okay. We can time also exceeded, so we can leave it till here. We looked
Okay.
into the Docker, and I'll just look what is the issue. I don't want to waste the time. So few
Okay.
minor issue I might have done well this one. So I'll just do the cross check and get back to you. But so far so clear. Anything? How to create the database, how to connect the database, what are the Dockers, how to pull the image of Docker, how to run the container out of it.
Yeah, for me, like I have like a previous knowledge, so I was reconnecting everything. Yeah.
So everything is cleared so far now.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just check the back end of this one. Okay. What
yeah.
is the issue? And we will cover this in our next class. Okay, guys, we already exceeded time. That's why. Anyway,
Yeah,
any
yeah.
confusion, any issue?
Can you
No,
please
actually.
upload the
Yeah, sure.
last
I'll upload
VPC
this one.
upload?
Yeah, both I will upload it. Okay, today I was having with the cloud issue, so I could not upload it. I'll upload it.
Okay.
Okay, no need to worry. So the next class we will see you guys on Wednesday. Okay, practice this one.
What is
Okay,
the next
practice.
topic?
We will continue this one. Okay, the very first thing we will do all the multiple queries, and then we will create a project on our VPC. Okay, or if possible, I'll try to include some smaller topic and more whole full-fledged project we will do in the next to next class. Okay,
Okay. Okay, sure.
we will look into the networking section as well. So networking and
So,
RDS.
like
Hmm.
after the next class, will we be able to answer like the VPC part, like interview
Every
questions?
question you can answer, I can assure you.
Okay,
Not
sure.
every, not because they are very much difficult, but
Yeah,
intermediate
yeah,
level type of all questions you can answer.
yeah,
Okay, that I can
yeah.
assure you. We will go through all the scenario based question. Okay, at least 10 to 15. So we will see what type of questions are being framed and you can answer it. Okay.
Okay,
I need to delete all the services. Okay. So we will
okay.
recreate it
Yeah, yeah,
quickly in the very next class. Okay.
sure. Okay,
I'll just
thank you.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any confusion, just drop down in the our class while just perform it, do some hands-on. Okay.